Hey, welcome back to my channel. Um, as you know, the end of the epicseven RTA season is coming up, so I am climbing, and this is a documentation of some of the matches along the way. Conquer Lilius, busted unit. I think the statistics was that she was like first pick, like 60 or 70% if she was available in the last RTA season, and not much has changed in this season, in my opinion. My opponent picks Hwayoung and Dian, and Dian can be 300 speed, and Hwayoung is just, you know, fair and balanced, so I pick a more aggressive draft, but then my opponent decides that he needs to have me have the most amount of fun possible, and picks what I assume is a Degen Poultice and a Sage Ball into me, so I pick Handguy and APOC, two units that are really good into his draft, minus Hwayoung, I guess, but I was just planning to ban Hwayoung and have my team soul the rest, but my opponent ends up picking Spirit Eye Celine, and I was not too scared of Spirit Eye Celine in the draft because I have support units I can trip her down, or I can just have Steny kill her eventually, so I opt to ban Dian to protect my Bruiser units, and my opponent banned Celia's, which I was a bit surprised about, especially the way he drafted, but seeing as there is no book from his side, it is a Degen Poultice. I assume it was on Crown because that's what a lot of Degen Poultices run, so I pressed S3 with my hand guide here. I was hoping that a Sage Ball would be faster, but it wasn't, so whatever. But it turns out this Poultice is actually on Violin, and there's more strips that come out from Sage Balls S2, but luckily managed to evade sleeps on everyone, even if they do get stripped, so the Poultice S3 does end up coming in, but it actually ends up being kind of a detriment to him because getting the blind on APOC and Steny means that they can attack freely into Spirit Eye Celine, especially if she is on ER. I don't know, but guys, like matches like these are just hidden at the recesses of my mind. I S3 the Spirit Eye Celine because I either miss and don't crit and don't get countered, yes, or I do hit and stun her and don't get countered, so. My opponent, surprisingly, rams Hwayoung's S3 into Handguy here, and I found this a bit surprising because a lot of Handguy's value in matches like these is his S3, and he got it off, so I thought he would want to S3 into like my Watcher Shuri to prevent the damage coming out, but
let's end this,
you know, I'll take it. It works for me, you know.
I'll do anything.
Handguy with his fair and balanced standard gameplay laps around with a CR boost. I don't crit Spirit Eye Celine because I'm lucky like that. It is only like a 25% chance, so it was like in my favor, but no complaints for me. He attacks my APOC here. Oh no, I mean he doesn't attack my APOC here and tries to sleep Watcher Shuri, which is something I found confusing because if he slept APOC Robbie, his Spirit Eye Celine could have gone like an extra turn to do damage or something, but I guess it wouldn't have mattered too much in the grand scheme of things. Now that his DPS units are off the field, APOC is going to solo the rest of his team, so the match is over. On to the next match. You know, I told you, right? Conquer Lilius is like, in my matches, I would say if she's not pre-banned, she's first picked 90% of the time. 100% by me, but it's like not 100% for my opponents. But yeah, I built Bunny Dom recently, and I think that is a nice addition to my roster instead of just racing with racing with Poultice Para, because that cleave is a bit outdated nowadays with Edward and Dilbert and like all those units. My opponent picks a draft that is actually really weak to Angel of Light, which is kind of a rare occurrence for me nowadays, but you know, I'll take it. I picked Stenny because she's a safe DPS and I don't know what the rest of the DPS picks are, but my opponent wants me to have as much fun as possible and picks one of the most toxic units, in my opinion, in Archdemon. But I do recognize that this game is a Sylvan Sage Vivian solo. If I ban out the Archdemon Mercedes, so I opt to do that here and just ban the Archdemon because Archdemon is good into most of my team, so it makes sense. He bans Bunny Dom, which makes sense because like my comp is, well, it has potential to be aggressive and it shuts down Conquer Lilius pretty hard, so. Oh, fun fact to notice at this point, or to mention at this point, is that the match is sped up by 50% because, spoiler alert, this is a match that goes on forever. With Conquer, Lilius, and Diane running circles around my team, almost literally, with the cycling, and me having to grind the game out. My opponent does not realize the tech of high ER AOL on Bastion, but this means that she survives the Bruiser burst, or like the burst in air quotes, and my team goes. I try to stun Alencia here so I can keep the crit damage buffs for a bit, but excuse me, I get 15% and it's not that big of a deal. I do choose to attack into Edward here and eat a counter because it would cleanse off the decreased attack and it'll give my whole team a skill null, which is a small buffer. The opponent kills AOL, which I don't really mind because she did her job. She gave my team a lot of leeway into hitting the enemy team, and although the unbuffables did not stick, at least they stuck on C. Lilius, so I can focus her down as quickly as possible. And Stenny provokes an S2 counter from Edward, which is kind of lame, but we're gonna be here for a long time, so just buckle in. I'm gonna take this opportunity to talk about how, while I get how speed battles with Cleave is not the most fun, if anyone remembers the meta from Season 3, like the FCC skin meta, like the Golden Boys meta, like that was not fun for anybody. Like, it was just Crow, ML Crow, General Purgus, A Tywin, Stenny, Landy, plus like Ruel and your soulweavers. It was just
Now it's too late to escape.
it was just really lame. And I'm getting flashbacks to that era of soulweavers just running laps around my team, slowly grinding my team to death. While I don't do damage to theirs because of anti-crit. Yeah. People complained about DN getting pushed out of the meta, but I don't think people remember how frustrating anti-crit is as like a concept. But whatever. My team is resisting all of Alencia's defense breaks, but considering the amount of crits I've missed due to this DN, like, I'll just call it justice. I was focusing Alencia because I thought she was the correct unit to focus and kill, because DN plus Edward cannot kill Sylvan Sage Vivian unless we're in like Frenzy 9. But seeing that my APOC will not survive a lot more, my APOC will not survive these coming turns due to the ramping Edward damage, I decide, after seeing this S1 damage into DN, to try my chances with her, but you know, if I need good RNG, I can't get it, so I don't crit, but luckily I managed to crit her here and kill her. I forgot my S10 S3 was off cooldown because the game's been taking like that fucking long. But now that anti-crits are slowly falling off, and it's Sylvan Sage Vivian versus these two. The lucky dual attack lets me kill Alencia, but I don't think it matters because if you didn't know, Sylvan Sage Vivian gets ramping attack, so it lets her close out games like this. And I think 3 stacks is the maximum, so my Sylvan Sage Vivian is at max juice, and so is my Stenny with max stacks after Alencia died. So she should be easily be able to close out this game, and she is. So, standard games, right? Could you imagine playing standard like 10 minutes per game just to lose to like a dual attack? Like, guys. Anyway, for my last game, I picked an aggro comp just to show you guys that I am not a standard player. I do not want to bore people with my 20-minute matches. Not to say standard is an invalid playstyle, it's just not for me, you know. Like, it's just, like I like seeing big numbers and I like going fast. That's for that exact reason I ended up first picking Hwayoung here when I think I should have first picked APOC Ravi, because something in my gut just told me that this guy was a tank down player, and I was happy that I listened because this guy does turn out to be someone who plays very slowly, as you can see by his picks. And if you want to punish these type of drafts with aggro drafts, you need to have these 2 units built. It's Closer Charles and Ida. They're the strongest combination of units in the 4-5 pick position if your team has not been contested up till that point. Because due to their CR pushing nature, they are able to manipulate the CR bar to the point where any draft turns into like a cleave or aggro draft. And it's a big asset to have, though you have to be more conservative when you pick it into higher brackets, because like, for example, this hand guy could be like 290 in legend, but I'm sure that this guy, if he had that type of gear, he would be cleaving me. So, you know, my opponent does not pick anything that discourages me to pick the Exodia of last picks, so I take those. My opponent, no matter what he picks, I'm about to ban his 5th pick because I'm ready to fight his first 4. Yeah. Sorry, this is my second time narrating this because I made a few mistakes in the first time around, but you know, pro YouTuber things. Like I said, I just banned FCC. The amount of mitigation is annoying. I'm very confident I can fight the first 4 with the units I have. He bans Hwayoung, which I thought was a little surprising. Most people would ban Ida in this situation, but I do understand where he's coming from, because Hwayoung is just so fair and balanced. Yeah, so fair and balanced. I don't know, people don't like her, but I think she's a necessary evil, because without her, a lot of these meta units like APOC, Senya, and Alencia, which have like pretty not great standard answers, would have even worse standard answers. So she's like a necessary evil, but she's also a problem in herself. So I don't know what to say to Smallgate, but like, can you fix y'all shit? Thanks. But yeah, this is what I mean. Ida and Closer basically solo his team. I just have to kill Mediator Kaurik here to make sure the units gets done, and I can have another smooth rotation of units, another smooth rotation of turns, and slowly chip away at his team. And look at that steady damage though. Oof. Like, granted it was defense break, but this is why I think on units like Ida, you should plus 15 them if you are not a cleaver. Like, I use her in aggro drafts a lot, and the increased chance to defense break and the increased damage does help close out games sometimes, and that is something that a lot of people like overlook. But APOC's the only one alive. I win. All is good. I would just like to say, if you watched to this point, like, thank you for supporting my videos. I know it's not like the most interesting, but I'm just like trying to find my footing about like where I want to be, like what I want to film. But I just know that I do like content creation. And yeah, like and subscribe to see more.
Why don't you test your luck?